Thank you very much, Glenn. Glenn's slagging off vegans there. There's a lot to like about veganism. I don't care what anybody else says. I could easily be a vegan, except for butter. Butter is my Achilles heel. I would miss butter dreadfully because I think we can all agree it is still the very best lube. So my name is Matt Roseblade, and I used to have a very big moustache. Big, gingery handlebar moustache, and contrary to the evidence presented here, I look fucking lush. But I pushed it too far. I bought some wax, and I waxed up the ends, and it pushed me well over the acceptable limits of bellendery. And I had to shave the moustache off, but I didn't want to waste the wax because it was so expensive. So I used it to spike up every single pubic hair on my testicles. Until my bollocks looked like a pair of sea urchins. And I am now banned from every aquarium in the country. So I grew the moustache to sort of hide behind, because I used to be really shy, really cripplingly shy. For those of you who of a certain age, I'm going to apologise for this, I used to be too shy. Which is a deeply fucking unpleasant earworm that I burned you with. And I was so shy, I wouldn't say boo to a goose. But I would not recommend saying boo to a goose. In fact, don't say anything to a goose, because geese are fucking psychopaths. Geese are the most evil creatures on the planet. When George Orwell was researching Animal Farm, he observed the animals in the farmyard, and he looked at geese and he thought, no, they're too evil. And he gave the bag I rolled to the pigs. Geese are too evil to be Nazis. And that's a joke which I reckon will work even better if I read Animal Farm. You know how your local hard nut has love and hate tattooed on their knuckles? Maybe that doesn't happen right here. I'm from Portsmouth, it happens a lot. Geese have hate and hate tattooed underneath their wings because they really are cunts. And just never understood that sort of knuckle-based aide-memoir. I mean, why love and hate? I assume you'd have hate on your punching hand, which leaves love on the left hand, and I think we can all agree that no one can do self-love with their left hand. It feels like somebody else is doing it, but it's somebody else who hasn't a clue how to wank. A much better aide-memoir would be, you know, wank, wipe. Makes much more sense, and it's hygienic as well, keeps the two dirty things separate. Yeah, geese. There's something else I was going to say about geese. You see, I was writing stuff on the back of my hand, and then Glenn turned the light off. I'm 59 years old, my hand is kind of wrinkly and skinny. It just looks like a shit tattoo. I could fit back into Portsmouth like a treat. The thing I was going to say was, the only geese are used, that's it, geese. Geese are used in farms as security. And that's legit, that's true. I mean, they are so fucking mean, you cannot get into a farm that's patrolled by geese. The only way you can get in is if you dress like a farmer. And if you don't know how a farmer dresses, it's how Nigel Farage dresses. With those bright red corduroy trousers. Now you can say what you want about Nige. No, you really can, you're my friends. But you've got to hand it to him. He's only a year older than me, but he's chosen some very unhealthy lifestyle choices. He drinks like a fish, he smokes a lot, he doesn't exercise, he eats shit. I met somebody recently who has met Nigel Farage, and they assure me that his breath smells like Satan's gooch. You can believe that. But everything about Nige screams that he reeks of piss. And yet, when he's on telly, which is all the fucking time, in those red cords, not a trace of a piss patch. How does he do that? If I were to wear those trousers, within minutes there would be a piss patch you could see from outer space. In fact, I'm a little bit self-conscious that I'm under these bright lights because I'm okay, I'm good. It's like fine, it's 50-50. Probably, I can only imagine that one of his many grifts is that Nigel is the bladder of tenor pads for men. Now my shyness, I've beaten it.
Hey!
And I did the most intimidating thing. I did the most shyness beating thing. Today, I went to the tip.
Hey!
Because tips are fucking scary, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, because the tip men, they are fierce as fuck, aren't they? And if they see you putting something in the wrong skip, they don't let you get away with it. You've got to fish it out, you've got to do the walk of shame across the car park, and you've got to put it in the right skip. That walk of shame is like the middle-aged version of doing PE in your pants at school. It's fucking horrible. But I put everything in the right skip, and I looked down in the skip, and somebody had dumped off their pornographic magazine collection. You remember those, like the old days, how he used to masturbate? All their porn there, and I looked down on this papier-mâché pile of pureed porno, and I said to the tip man, "Oh mate, that's all wrong. Skip over there's for hardcore." "Thank you for laughing, that's a good joke." He just looked at me like I'd shat on his foot. Bastards. What was the text? Oh yeah, a little more about me. I can't write very well, so I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I mentioned already I'm 59 years old, but my oldest child is just 13. Ooh. I became a father very late in life. We tried for a long time, but in the end it came down to medical intervention. I only became a father due to medical intervention. It took the professionalism, the expertise, the patience of a lot of medical experts to get me to go around the front. And my son, I'm very proud of him. When he was 7, we did dad's camp. And it was the best, because it was all the dads, lots of dads, all the kids, fucking hundreds of kids, and no mums! Yay! So we could do what we wanted. So the dads, we all sat around the campfire, we drank beer, we talked bollocks, yay! Kids all went off into the woods, recreated Lord of the Flies. Not a problem for me. My kids aren't fat, so they didn't get killed. And then in the evening, the kids come around the campfire, we feed them full of shit food because there's no mums. And then the kids sit around in a circle and they play the alphabet game. And the alphabet game is where you go through all the letters of the alphabet doing a swear. And there's no mums, so they can say what they want, and it's brilliant. First kid says ass, yes. Second kid says bum. Bit of a wasted opportunity, I feel. Third kid, fuck! Who put that kid in the C-word chair? Because that kid is going to say the C-word, and then all the kids are going to say the C-word, and then we're going to go home and say the C-word, and we're going to be in so much trouble. Please don't say, please don't say. Kid says crap, yes! Dodged. Next kid says dick, we're back in the game. And then it's my son, age 7, and he's got to do a swear word that starts with the letter E. Does anybody have any swear words that start with the letter E? It's fucking difficult, isn't it? He's only 7. He's got to think of a swear word in front of all his friends that begins with E. Fortunately, he is the fruit of my loins. He does hate me calling him that. An inspiration took over him, and he stood up, and he puffed his little chest out, and he said, "The letter E, entering the vag." Ah, such a proud dad. And then more recently, he came home from school really excited. "Dad, I had the best day at school today, Dad. It was brilliant, Dad. They gave us fruit." But we didn't have to eat the fruit, Dad. We put lube on the fruit, Dad. It was sex education. That's what sex is, lubricated fruit, right? And Dad, when the fruit was all good and lubed, we put condoms on the fruit. It was amazing. It was the best day at school. I wish every day at school could be like this. And look, Dad, they gave us some lube. And in this little sachet of lube, like a starter kit. Yes. And Dad, look. They gave us some condoms. Here you go, Dad. You can use them on Mum. You can tell he'd not thought that one through. You can see the horror dawning across his little face as he started to imagine me and his mother and some fruit. And he ran off screaming. I had to call him back. "Theo, mate, come back. We're going to need a lube." Regrettably, ladies and gentlemen, I'm 59 years old. We're not going to need the lube. I'm too old for any of that shit. I'm properly post-sexual. Now at 59, I've gone from being the kind of man who can get it up several times a night to being a man who gets up several times a night. At 59, it now takes me 3 days of planning, 2 hours of waiting in a prescription just to get a spontaneous erection. I can still get it up. It just doesn't stay up for long. It's just up. Just down. Having a wank is like playing Splat the Rat. The only good thing about being 59 is that I have just over 40 years of sexual experience. It's which means that any woman with me is guaranteed the very best night of uninterrupted sleep. There's fuck all happening down there anymore. The libido has left the building. I have transformed like Optimus past his prime. The mind of an in-betweener and the body of an in-decliner. And that's kind of sad, I think. I needed a new hobby. And my wife said, Matt, why don't we play tennis? She plays a lot of tennis. So she said, come and play tennis with me, it'll be brilliant. We've got our friends Tim and Carol, we can play tennis as a doubles. We've known them for years, they're lovely, they're your best friends, they're brilliant, we can play tennis together. When I hit the ball, she said I put on my cum face. My friends had not seen my cum face, they're not that sort of friends. Did not end well. How does she know what my cum face looks like? I always thought she was asleep. So, Glenn earlier, I think he was talking about, what were you talking about? You were talking about the clap clinic, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, those of us in the audience who are a little older than you will remember the 1980s clap clinics. Right? This is Glenn's dad.
And I was born in 1981.
Yeah. I can do the maths. In the 1980s, if you had clap, you had to go to the clap clinic. And they, you know those cocktail umbrellas? Imagine one of those made out of stainless steel. And they would put it down your jab side, open it out, and then take a scraping with the brick. This isn't comedy, this is just something I thought of when Glenn was going on with. Generally, I have no idea what it's... Oh yes, autumn is here. That's right, autumn is shit. Autumn is it's terribly overrated. It just ponces around at the arse end of the year. Mellow fruitfulness bollocks. Autumn is shit. Autumn is just stuff turning orange and then dying. Until it visits that on the States. Don't fuck itself. The season of choice is spring. I've forgotten how to speak. I fucking love spring. Spring is brilliant. Let's hear it for spring. Yay! Yes, new life spurting forth. I don't do spurting anymore, but I love spring anyway. The only thing I don't like about spring is tomcats. Because we've got lady cats. And the tomcats, they come in, twirling their whiskers, going, hello, lady cats. But our lady cats have been spayed or neutered or whatever you call it when you sew their fannies up. And so in a fit of sexual frustration, the tomcats spray our kitchen cabinets with some piss-smelling musk. Fucking hell. And I like our cats. I mean, they're all right. They bring in... Okay. They're shit, actually. They bring in dead birds, live rats, and quite recently an £800 vet bill. Fuckers. But I do love our cats. And I love dogs. And I love animals. I love pets. I do love pets. But pets are a bit shit, aren't they? Aren't they? No, just me. They are a bit shit. I mean, I love them, but they're a bit shit. You can't milk them, you can't eat them, you can't, leave them in charge of your children. They're shit. And I think my life would be better without pets, without the cats, with that extra 800 quid. Yeah. A lot of my friends are getting dogs. Their children have grown up, and they need something needy around the house that's going to smash it up. So I get these dogs, and whilst I love dogs, I could never have a dog. I can't have anything in the house that can lick its own testicles. Jealousy destroys. But yeah, I'm 59, and we all know how knackers go over time, and I reckon that I'm probably only a birthday or two away from them stretching up enough, or dangling that, it doesn't matter. I will finally get that longed for, first salty, bristly, a little bit kebabby, that longed for lick, and that would be brilliant. It used to be that, like when you got to 100 years old, you get a telegram off the Queen, and I reckon you should get something off the Queen, the King, whoever it is now, when you can lick your own testicles. I just think that would be nice. And that's something worth getting old for, isn't it? That and having a young nurse wipe your ass. That's got to be the best thing about being old. Don't know where I'm going with any of this. Oh yeah, pets. The only good pet is the hamster. The king of pets. Let's hear it for the hamsters. Yay! Hamsters are brilliant for 3 very good reasons. Number 1, every single hamster is descended from a single family captured in the Syrian desert in 1928, which gives it a gene pool smaller than Portsmouth's. Number 2, if you can persuade it with a trail of nuts and berries and get a hamster up your ass, it will transport you to sexual nirvana, allegedly. And number 3, hamsters die very easily. And I accept that's not good for the hamster, but for me, the parent of young children, the hamster's death is a very useful way of introducing the child to death. The death of a loved relative was much easier if the child has begun to understand death through the death of the hamster. Well, I'm really sorry, but Grandma has died. You didn't clean her out often enough and she shat herself to death. Or I'm terribly sorry that Grandpa had died, just like your hamster did. Deep in a man's ass. So this has been an absolute delight for me because I didn't know I was doing 20 minutes and I managed to stretch out for 16 minutes. Shall I fuck off early and then we can have a break? The alternative is me standing up here talking about wanking more.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Alright. I'm not going to talk about wanking, I'm going to talk about sex. Do you remember that? I don't. But I'm going to end on a love story. We like love stories?
Yeah.
Yes. So my wife and I, it is a love story. We've been married 28 years, we've been together 36 years. She was my first proper girlfriend, my first real girlfriend. I did unsuccessfully shag somebody else first, but none of us want to talk about that. Not least because we're related, I'm from Gloucestershire. But my wife, we've been together since we were teenagers, and throughout the relationship, throughout our time together, the music that I'm into, it kind of dictates how we make love. Anyone else do? No, just us. Let me explain, when we first got together as teenagers, I was really into punk. I love punk rock, and our first sexual experiments were just like a punk rock song, and they were like fast, energetic, vigorous. Lasted like 2 minutes. Quite a lot of spitting. And then I got into metal, and our sex was just like metal. There was lots of leather, lots of studs, lots of... So that's a joke that splits the room. No, not just the room. Honestly, my wife asked me to keep it in. Yeah. Despite my appalling sexual technique, she decided that I was the one. I'd always known she was the one, but she decided that I was the one, and it was brilliant because we got married, we had children, we settled down. It's just the best time of my life and absolutely the worst sex. It was my own fault because I got into prog rock. Progressive rock music, and our sex was just like prog rock. Not that nice to listen to. Went on far too long. And there was needed a very long solo to finish. Just recently, we've rediscovered this love. We've rediscovered the passion. We have rediscovered 90s warehouse rave. And our sex is like 90s warehouse rave. It's amazing. It only happens at weekends. Quite often cancelled at very short notice by somebody dressed as a policewoman. But sex now is just like 90s warehouse rave because nothing really happens until the pills kick in. I am Matt Roseblade, you guys have almost applauded me there. Thank you very much, good night. I love you, not heavy enough, not mention that.